So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying safe. Hope everything's good wherever you are. So guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about Shawn Porter and Terence Crawford. There's been something that I find very interesting. I think this should happen a lot more. The WBO have ordered a purse bid that apparently they've not reached an agreement. So PBC and Top Rank haven't reached an agreement. So this will be going to purse bids. And what that means for people that don't know what purse bids are anyone can bid for the fight, and whoever puts up the most money will get the fight. So for example, Thriller can come in and put a bid in for the fight. DAZN can come in and put a bid for the fight, and all will put in a bid for the fight because it's a meaningful fight. Whoever puts in the most money will get the fight. That's great news because I think the WBO have taken a stance, and the reason why the WBO have taken a stance, I think they're fed up. I think they're fed up with Terence Crawford's level of opposition, and they probably think that we need to take a stance here. You know, governing bodies and all of that get a lot of criticism, and I got to give a lot of respect to the WBO because the WBO have taken a stance and they've said, you know what? Well, we'll just make this happen. You know, and now there's a purse bid going out on Thursday, and what the historic thing is, and I don't know whether this has been done before, but their purse bid is actually going to be shown to the public and to the fans, which is great news because now we're going to actually get to see that. I've always been interested. Why don't they ever show the purse bids? Because there've been many purse bids before, but they've never really ever shown it, and it's going to be really interesting because I'm going to most likely, if it's at the correct time, I'll be tuning in. And let's see who wins the purse bid. I reckon purse bids for fighters are really good because that means that anyone can bid for it, and that usually means that the fighters are going to benefit because there's going to be somebody that bids crazy money for it, and that obviously the fighters will get that money. So I think Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter will be better off. And at the end of the day, we are in a sport which is about the fighters. So good luck to both Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter. It's a great fight. I think it's a fight which will get Crawford the recognition he deserves. And it's a great fight. It's a great fight. So it's great news that this is going to be happening. I hope Crawford Crawford gets this big fight, and nothing falls through at the last minute. I don't think so, because I think Crawford and Porter both want the fight. And usually, I always say this, when the fighters want the fight, the fights usually happen. I don't think when the fighters want the fight that the fights won't happen. I think they will happen, and I think in this case it will happen as well. I can't see this fight not happening, if I'm honest with you. And it gives Crawford an opportunity to put all the stuff about him not fighting a top welterweight to bed, if we're totally honest. And I think Crawford, by beating Shawn Porter, will put that to bed. I think Crawford is he's an exceptional fighter, but he needs to now get a move on. He's not young. There's fights out there. Dennis Ugas, Errol Spence. And here's the thing: if I was Crawford, I would now target Dennis Ugas as well. If after Porter, because once he fights Porter, he would have broken the ice with him and PBC, because then he would have fought a PBC fighter, right? So he needs the opportunity then to fight Dennis Ugas. And listen, Ugas for me is just as credible as Spence. Ugas has beaten, for me, a better fighter than anybody that Errol Spence has beat. Let's be honest. Manny Pacquiao is a better fighter than anybody that Errol Spence has beat. I know Manny was older, and I also feel that Errol Spence's best win is Shawn Porter. I felt like Dennis Ugas beat Shawn Porter more clearer than actually Errol Spence did. So when you think about it, Dennis Ugas for me is just as credible as Errol Spence. When you go look back at it, I know on paper he didn't get the Porter win, but really you can make an argument that his win was far more clearer than Errol Spence. But he just didn't get the decision. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Some of you guys are really overlooking Dennis Ugas. I think Dennis Ugas is a real problem. I do. I think Dennis Ugas is a real dude. So, to be totally honest with you, I'm really interested to see how this will play out. I really do. I'm interested. So hopefully this Crawford and Porter fight will go through. I believe it will. I believe that the fight's big and it will definitely go through. I think it makes sense for all parties. I think Crawford, it makes sense. Porter, it makes sense. Where's Porter going to effectively go now? I think Porter's at the stage of his career where he needs dance partners. He needs to fight. So Porter needs to fight. So Porter's probably looking at it and thinking, this is my last hurrah. You know, because Porter loses, where's he going to go? Effectively, if you think about it, where's Porter going to go if he was to lose to Crawford? He's done, really. So, to be brutally honest with you guys, I think it's kind of like last chance saloon for everybody, really, for Porter's side. I think it's last chance saloon. If he was to lose to Terence Crawford, I think that might be it for him. Like, because he's fought everybody, really. Who's Porter not really fought? He's fought everyone. You know, he fought you, Dennis Ugas, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, you know, Errol Spence. Who is he not fought? He's fought everybody. So where would there really be for him to go? You know, unless he moves up to 154. I don't think he's big enough for 154. So personally, I don't think there's anywhere for him to go. You know, I think it's time. It would be time for Porter. You know, I think Porter then at championship level may not get another shot because he's had a lot. Had with Spence. He had it, and listen, he's not disgracing himself in these losses because they were close fights. But nevertheless, he's fought everybody. You could say Shawn Porter's the only fighter that's fought everyone, barring Crawford, who's a latecomer to the welterweight division. Porter's fought them all. Porter's fought literally everyone. You know, so. And if he was to fight Crawford, he would have literally fought everybody in this era. Now, I know he hasn't beaten everybody. You know, he's taken losses. And I think Porter's been very lucky because I think some of the fights that even won, Danny and Ugas, I'm not convinced he won those fights, especially not Ugas. I think Danny was closer. I haven't got a problem with him getting that decision, but the one against Ugas, I don't think he won that fight. And you can make a case that all the top welterweights that Porter has fought, barring Ugas, which I don't think he won that fight. And I think if that fight had played out the way it played out now, with Ugas getting the win over Pacquiao, I don't think he gets that decision, personally. I don't think he gets that decision. But if I'm totally honest with you, I do think Ugas will beat Porter now. If they were to fight again, I think Ugas wins that fight. I think Ugas is a better fighter than Shawn Porter. I think Shawn Porter's rough and rugged, but I don't think he beats Ugas. No way. No way. I think he'll come out. Basically, I thought he lost the first time. So I think Ugas will beat him again the second time. But this time, I think Ugas is not a fighter that's, you know, the B side, or he's the A side, and he's also got a name. And, you know, I reckon Ugas will beat Porter this time if they were to fight. So I think in terms of Terence Crawford and Shawn Porter, if that fight does happen, I do expect Terence Crawford to beat Shawn Porter, and I think Terence Crawford may even pick Shawn apart. Shawn Porter may surprise us again. Look, I didn't expect him to do as well as he did against Spence, so we have to give Shawn a little bit of credit, because although he may have lost a couple of fights, he does always, even in his losses, he doesn't disgrace himself. Like some people thought he nicked the fight against Kell Brook. You know, some people thought the fight with, I think Keith Thurman, for me, I know some people seem to think Kell Brook. I actually think Keith Thurman beat him better, although it was a split decision. I thought Keith Thurman had tricky moments in there. Kell Brook had a lot of tricky moments in there. But I think Keith Thurman, for me, beat him decisively. Now, a lot of people seem to think Kell Brook beat him decisively. I thought that was a very nip and tuck, ugly fight. You know, you couldn't really make heads and tails of what was going on. There was a lot of grabbing hold from Kell Brook. You know, he wasn't really looking to exchange as much. You know, whenever Porter got close, he used to grab hold. So there wasn't a fight. He didn't let Porter work. He grabbed hold. And I think Kenny Porter and Shawn Porter had a great case for saying that, listen, at the end of the day, if Brook's going to get away with that, I think Brook's got to do it. Because Brook did what he had to do. They had a game plan of grabbing hold and negating Porter, which is fair enough. But holding's not allowed in boxing, you know. Especially when it's excessive holding like that. It's not allowed. You know, it's even in the laws of boxing, you're not allowed to do it. So I'm very surprised that the referee didn't cotton onto that and deduct some points from Brook. I think, you know, Shawn Porter and Kenny Porter made the referee aware of this as well. But, you know, the referee didn't didn't take off points. So Kell Brook, fair play to him, he carried on doing it, and he kind of neutralized Porter on the inside. But the fight even then was very close, because if you look at the fight, it wasn't a lot going on. It was a nip and tuck kind of fight. Like, you know, when Thurman fought Porter, Thurman nailed Porter with a lot of shots. He even wobbled Porter. This is when people say Kell Brook's got this crazy punching power. I always disagree, because I say that I've seen him hit guys with clean shots and they just take it, you know, whereas Thurman wobbled Porter many times, and even Spence knocked Porter down. You know, Broner knocked Porter down. So it's not like Porter's not invincible. Like he's got a good chin, but you know, he definitely can be cracked and he definitely can be wobbled. But Kell Brook wasn't able to do it. You know, so I do question Kell Brook's punching power at welter. But in terms of this fight, some people may question Crawford's punching power at welter. I just think Crawford's too skilled. I think his boxing IQ is too good, and I think he will pick Shawn Porter apart. And I think this may be the fight where Shawn Porter eventually gets beat, and gets beat conclusively. Like Terence Crawford may end up being the guy that really beats Shawn Porter up. And what I mean by that is schooling him. Do you know what I mean? Like taking it to another level. I do believe that. I think Terence Crawford, with the amount of fights that Shawn Porter's had, where he's at in his career, I think that this may be a step too far, especially a guy with as quick feet as Terence Crawford, fast hands. I do believe that Terence Crawford is going to be a problem for Shawn Porter. I do. I think he beats him, and I think he beats him well. And to be honest, I think Porter's, as we know, is a game guy, tough guy. But this is for me a step a little bit too far at this stage in his career. I think Terence Crawford may be too good. But again, guys, what do you make of the WBO ordering this purse bid and ordering it live so the fans can see? So we will get to see live who wins this purse bid. I hope, for the fighter's sake, that it's a huge bid and both fighters get paid a shed load of money, because as we know, fighters deserve every single penny. Or if you're in America, what is it, cents? They deserve every little everything they get, because you know they put their lives on the line for our entertainment. So good luck to both guys. Hopefully this fight gets made. Hopefully it happens and we get to see a great fight. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.